Are you ready to stop paying your landlord's mortgage and finally buy your own place here in the Chicagoland area? I get it. The whole process could look a bit nerve-wracking and messy from the outside. Way too many steps, too many opinions, and too many Zillow tabs open on your phone at 1 in the morning. I'm going to take you from just browsing to keys in hand in the simplest way possible. I'm Ghazi with Shehayber Realty. I help buyers all over the Chicagoland area look for their dream home while making the entire process as simple as possible. Let's start with your day-to-day. Not the loan, not the listing alerts, but your life. Just think about a regular Tuesday. Where are you leaving from? How long do you want the drive to be? And what road or train actually makes sense to you? Maybe you're on the Southwest Service out of Oaklawn or Palis Sites. Or maybe you just want easy access to I-80 or LaGrange Road so you can get to work without the traffic. Now think about a Saturday you actually enjoy. Are you grabbing a coffee near Bridgeview? Maybe you're walking your dog at Centennial Park? Or maybe you're just hitting the trails in Palis. When you picture that, the map starts to shrink significantly. Now we can start focusing on the certain neighborhoods that fit your day-to-day and your routine, and the search becomes much easier. If you got an idea of where you want to live, we can now move on to talking about the biggest thing, money. Everyone immediately jumps to the payments first, but what you should be asking is how much can you comfortably afford month to month? We take the number and we work backwards. Taxes here can vary significantly from town to town and even by streets. Cook County can be different from Will County. You also have to take insurance into consideration. If you're thinking about a condo or a townhome, you're likely going to be adding HOA fees to it. We also need to give ourselves a little bit of cushion for maintenance because houses always require fixing down the line. When the monthly payment feels comfortable to you, you know that you're ready to talk to a lender and take that next step forward. Pre-approval is going to be the next step. It's basically the lender telling you we checked your income, your credit, and your debts, and here's what we're willing to lend you in total. Sellers are looking for that pre-approval letter from the get-go to know that you're serious and you're not going to be wasting any of their time or have the deal fall through because you couldn't secure financing at the last minute. While the lender's working on getting you pre-approved and even before you close on the place, just make sure that your finances look boring. What do I mean by all that though? Do not go opening up any new credit cards, do not buy a car, and please do not go buying new furniture before you even close on the place. All of these things are going to show up on your credit report and it can be the reason as to why they decide not to lend you right at the last minute. Don't put yourself in this situation. Now, assuming you got your pre-approval in place, we can now make your search even more simple. Since we know how much you're pre-approved for, it's going to give us a rough idea of what price ranges we should be focusing on. We pick 2 or 3 must-haves that you actually care about. Maybe it's a 4-bedroom above grade, maybe it's a fenced yard, or maybe you just want to ranch because you're tired of taking the stairs. When you go see houses, your agent's going to point out things that photos tend to miss. We're going to look at the roof, the age of the mechanicals, the windows, electrical panel, and what the grading is doing around the foundation. Basements here can be iffy if water isn't draining properly, so we make sure to pay attention to that. The point isn't to scare you. You're just to spot things early so you're not surprised later and run into costly issues. Homes that are priced correctly are still going to move, especially in the spring and summertime. It doesn't mean that you have to rush into anything though. It just means that we know we're going to be ready because you know your numbers, you know your must-haves, and then when the right place hits the market, you won't hesitate because we already did the hard work in the beginning. So that perfect house just landed on the market and you're confident now that it's the one that you want. When it's time to write an offer, we're going to use common sense and local data to come to a fair number. Your agent's going to pull the most recent sales in the area that are comparable in size, the age, and the renovations. They're also going to check how long the home's been on the market. They then call the listing agent and ask what matters most to the seller. We're going to be talking about earnest money so they know that you're serious. We're going to be setting timelines to match the lender's speed. And if a faster close helps, then that's going to be great. If the seller needs a little bit of time to move out, then we're going to go ahead and work with that and if it makes sense for you. Price matters, but so does making the seller feel like the deal is actually going to close. We then present your offer and wait for them to respond back, whether they accepted it, denied it, or they counter-offered. Let's assume they actually accepted our offer. This now takes us to the next step, which is putting it under contract. 2 things happen fast: inspection and attorney review. Illinois uses attorneys on both sides, so your lawyer is going to look over the contract and make sure the basics are covered. At the same time, we schedule a home inspection. The inspector is going to check all the big stuff in detail. You got your roof, the structure, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and keeps an eye on moisture in the basement to make sure there's no mold. If we find issues, we don't freak out. We just make a list and decide what's going to be important to us. Sometimes it's the repair, other times it's the credit, and sometimes it's both. If it's something that doesn't fit your plan, then we have that conversation and decide to pivot before you're in way too deep. It might mean we just walk away. Other times we ask the seller to repair it before closing. Other times we might just ask them to credit us for the cost of repairing so we can do it ourselves. It all depends on the severity and what your level of comfort is. Assuming inspection went well and nothing major came up, appraisal comes next. Your lender orders it to make sure the value lines up before they release the money. Most of the time it does. If it does come in low, there's no need to panic. Your agent is going to pull better comps and your lender is going to ask for a second look. If we still need to bridge the gap, we're going to have a talk with the seller. Sometimes they do come down a bit though. Other times the buyers are willing to put more on the table. More often than not, it's going to be a simple middle ground. The goal is a simple number that matches the market. Timing wise, the Chicagoland area can move very quickly. Spring is usually more busy and competitive. Summer brings more options and moves are usually tied to school schedules. Fall could be a nice window with motivated sellers and fewer buyers, while the winter is usually quieter, but good homes still show up, however with less competition. We're going to be lining things up with your life and not just the season though. Some towns also have their own rules. A few require village inspections, transfer stamps, or specific carbon monoxide detector placements. Most of that is on the seller, but it can affect our timeline. I track those details by town, so we don't have to find out about any form or an inspection the very week of closing. Closing costs can get confusing when they're just a list of terms, so we're going to keep it very simple. You got your down payment, you got your lender fees, an appraisal fee, title and escrow costs, and money set aside for your taxes and insurance. Counties bill property taxes on the delay, so your lender is going to set up an escrow for you to keep you covered. If you're buying a condo or townhome, there might be a move-in fee or a packet from the association. Your lender is going to run estimates early, and we're going to keep adjusting as we go so nothing shows up out of nowhere. As we get close to closing, everything tends to speed up, but also gets pretty simple. Your lender clears you to close, we do a final walkthrough to make sure the home looks exactly like we expect it to, and the agreed to repairs are done. We wire your funds using instructions the attorney or the title company sends. We double check those instructions because wire fraud is definitely a real thing and we do not want to mess around with that. At the table, there's a lot of signatures. We go page by page. If something doesn't make sense, we're going to translate it so it's easy to understand. When funding and recording finishes, you then get the message that everyone's been waiting for. You're officially closed. I hand you the keys, and then you can finally get to step into your new place, which it finally feels real. Here's a simple truth. You do not need to know everything today. You just need to take the next step. Choose where you want your life to happen. Set a monthly portion that feels comfortable to you. Get a solid pre-approval. Look at the marketplace with a clear head and write a clean offer. You protect yourself through inspection, the appraisal, and an attorney review. And then finally, you finish at the closing table. Step by step, that's how you move from we're just thinking about it to we're finally home. If you're buying your first home or just thinking about it and have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You'll find my contact info below in the description and in the comments. I'm Shehayber. Thank you for watching.